Welcome back to Biology at Priyajit, my dear students. Have you ever wondered how your ears can hear both a soft whisper and a loud thunder? The human ear is an amazing sensory organ that not only enables hearing but also helps maintain balance. In today's class, we will explore the physiological anatomy of the ear, the auditory pathway, and the mechanism of hearing in a simple, easy to understand, and exam oriented approach. Let's get started. Introduction to hearing. Before understanding the anatomy, let's first know what exactly sound is. Sound is simply a mechanical wave produced by vibrating objects. Every sound has two important characteristics. Number one is pitch. Pitch depends upon the frequency of sound. Frequency is measured in hertz. Low frequency is the low pitch sound and high frequency is the high pitched sound. The normal human ear can hear sounds ranging from approximately 20,000 to 20,000 hertz, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Interestingly, most human speech lies between 100 and 3000 hertz. Intensity, the second property is intensity or loudness. It is measured in decibel. Remember these values because they are frequently asked in examination. Threshold of hearing, that is 0 decibel. Normal conversation is 60 decibel. Busy traffic, that is around 90 decibel. Pain threshold approximately 140 decibel. Exposure to very loud sounds for prolonged periods can permanently damage the hearing receptors. Physiological anatomy of the ear. The ear can be divided into three parts. The yellow part is the external ear, the blue part is the middle ear, and the pink one is the internal ear. Let's understand each one separately. External ear. The external ear is the part that we can actually see. It consists of auricle or pinna, external auditory canal, and tympanic membrane. Auricle or pinna, the auricle is basically made mainly of elastic cartilage. Its outer curved margin is called the helix, while the soft lower part is called the lobule. Its main function is to collect sound waves and direct them toward the ear canal. Think of it like a satellite dish collecting signals. Now we'll go for the external auditory canal. The auditory canal is about 2.5 centimeter long. It carries sound waves towards the eardrum. Inside the canal there are tiny hairs, ceruminous glands, etc. These glands produce cerumen, commonly known as earwax. Many people think earwax is dirty. Actually, earwax is protective. It traps dust, insects, bacteria and water, preventing them from reaching the deeper parts of the ear. This is the image showing the different parts of the ear. This is elastic cartilage. This is the external auditory canal. This is tympanic membrane or eardrum. This is the round window. This is stapes in oval window, stapes bone. And this is malleus, incus. This is the part of the middle ear, and this is the round window or cochlea, semicircular canal. This is the internal ear part. Tympanic membrane. At the end of the auditory canal lies the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. It is a thin elastic membrane that vibrates whenever sound waves strike it. If this membrane tears, it is known as perforated eardrum. Doctors examine it using an otoscope. Middle ear. The middle ear is an air-filled cavity located inside the temporal bone. Its main function is to amplify sound. Inside the middle ear are three smallest bones of the human body called the auditory ossicles. There are malleus, incus and stapes. Remember them in order using the mnemonic MIS, that is hammer, anvil and stirrup. Malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane. Incus is the middle connecting bone. Stapes is the foot plate fits into the oval window of the inner ear. These three bones work together like a system of tiny levers and increase the force of sound vibrations nearly 20 times before transmitting them to the inner ear. Protective muscles. Two tiny muscles protect the ear from loud sounds. Tensor tympani, it is supplied by the trigeminal nerve or cranial nerve 5. It tightens the tympanic membrane. Stapedius muscle, it is supplied by facial nerve or CN7. It reduces excessive movement of the stapes. If this muscle becomes paralyzed, the person develops hyperacusis, which means sounds appear abnormally loud. Eustachian tube, the middle ear communicates with the nasopharynx through the auditory or Eustachian tube. Its function is to equalize air pressure on both sides of the eardrum. This is why swallowing or yawning during an airplane flight relieves ear discomfort. Unfortunately, this tube can also transmit infections leading to otitis media, a medial ear infection. This is the image showing the outer ear, this is the middle ear and the inner ear. Inner ear is also called as labyrinth. It consists of a bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth contains perilymph, whereas the membranous labyrinth contains endolymph. So inner ear, there are three main parts. The inner ear contains vestibule, semicircular canal and cochlea. Vestibule, it contains utricule and saccule. They detect linear acceleration and help maintain balance. Semicircular canal, there are three semicircular canals placed at right angles to one another. Each canal has an enlarged portion called the ampulla. These detect rotational movements of the head. Cochlea. Now we arrive at the hearing organ. The cochlea resembles a snail shell with approximately 3 turns. Inside the cochlea there are 3 chambers: scala vestibuli, scala media and scala tympani. Remember, scala vestibuli and scala tympani contain perilymph, while scala media contains the endolymph. Organ of Corti, it is situated on the basilar membrane. The organ of Corti is the actual receptor organ for hearing. It contains approximately 60,000 hair cells. There are two types: inner hair cells, only one row but responsible for 90 to 95% of sensory transmission to the brain, and the outer hair cells. There are three rows. They function mainly as amplifiers, making faint sounds easier to detect. Above the hair cells lies the tectorial membrane. When sound causes movement, the stereocilia being against this membrane initiating nerve impulses. Mechanism of hearing. Let's now understand how hearing actually occurs. Imagine someone claps their hands. What happens? Step 1. Sound waves enter through the auricle, travel through the external auditory canal and strike the tympanic membrane. The eardrum starts vibrating. Low frequency sounds produce low vibrations, whereas high frequency sounds produce rapid vibrations. Step 2. The vibrations pass to the malleus, then incus and finally the stapes. The ossicles amplify the vibrations nearly 20-fold. The stapes pushes against the oval window. Step 3. Pressure waves are created in the perilymph of the scala vestibuli. These waves travel through the cochlea, eventually reaching the scala tympani. The round window bulges outward, releasing the pressure. Meanwhile, the vestibular membrane moves, producing waves in the endolymph. This movement of the wave cause the basilar membrane to vibrate. Now step 4, the organ of Corti moves along with the basilar membrane, and as a result the stereocilia of the hair cells bend, and if the stereocilia bend towards the tallest cilia, potassium channels then open and potassium enters, causing depolarization. Calcium channels then open, leading to release of the neurotransmitter glutamate. This stimulates the auditory nerve, and if the stereocilia bend in opposite direction, the hair cell becomes hypopolarized, reducing nerve impulses. Thus, mechanical energy has now become electrical energy. Step 5. How does the brain recognize different sounds? Pitch depends on the location of vibration on the basilar membrane. The base is narrow and steep, responding to high frequency sounds. The apex is wide and flexible, responding to low frequency sounds. Loudness depends on the amplitude of vibration, and greater vibration activates more hair cells, sending more nerve impulses which the brain interprets as louder sound. Auditory pathway. Now let's trace the pathway followed by sound signals. This is extremely important for university examinations. The pathway is hair cells, then pyral ganglion, then cochlear nerve, then vestibulocochlear nerve CN8, then cochlear nuclei, then superior olivary complex for the lateral lemniscus, inferior colliculus, then medial geniculate body, and lastly primary auditory cortex. This is the image showing how the sound waves originate from the vibrating objects. It moves into the external auditory canal, then it moves into the sound wave moves into the malleus, incus and stapes. From the stapes vibrating in oval window, then it moves through the perilimb to the cochlear duct, vestibular membrane, tectorial membrane. It will move into the cochlea. The receptor cells are the inner hair cells of the organ of Corti. Their nerve bodies lie in the spiral ganglia. Then step 3, the actions from the cochlear nerve which joins the vestibular nerve, forming the cranial nerve 3. The nerve enters the brainstem of the cerebellopontine angle ending in dorsal and ventral cochlear nuclei. Step 5, many fibers cross to the opposite side through the trapezoid body to reach the superior olivary complex. This is the first center responsible for sound localization. The impulses then ascend through the lateral lemniscus to the inferior colliculus of the midbrain. From the inferior colliculus, fibers travel through its brachium to the medial geniculate body of the thalamus. Finally, auditory radiations project to the primary auditory cortex located in Brodmann areas 41 and 42 within the superior temporal lobe, specifically Hessel's gyrus. This is where sound becomes consciously perceived. Clinical correlation. An important clinical point above the cochlear nuclei, the auditory pathway becomes bilateral, therefore damage to one side of the brain usually does not produce complete deafness in one ear. Severe unilateral hearing loss usually results from conductive deafness and sensory neural deafness, which affect the peripheral auditory system. So my dear students, we have already discussed the complete physiological anatomy of the ear, the auditory pathway, the mechanism of hearing explained in a simple, logical and exam oriented way. If this class helped you understand the topic better, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also press the bell icon so you never miss our upcoming lectures on biology and life science also. Thank you for watching. See you in the next class. Happy learning.